This is the side view, your vantage point on the news. From a side view, the noise fades, the patterns emerged, and both sides of the story come into focus. Whether it is politics, sports, or world events, we give you perspective, not just headlines. On side view today, Charlie Kirk and his change of stance towards Israel. While some people say Charlie Kirk was still pro Israel when he was murdered, others know that his stance had already changed. Today on Side View, I want to take a step back and share with you what I think really happened. How someone like Charlie Kirk, America First, who built his organization and platform on credibility and strong convictions, whether we agree or not, started a question to see the other side and to face pressure that comes with changing his mind. Charlie Kirk, it's true, was often painted with a broad brush. Pro Israel, America first, conservative stalwart. But if you look closely at the evolution of his perspective, the reality is far more complex. And it mirrors a pattern seen in many young Americans grappling with the Middle East conflict that is not new. Initially, after October 7, it was easy to justify Israelis' reactions. In Charlie Kirk's mind, shaped by his political philosophy and as a Christian, his love for the Holy Land, and most certainly from the lens of America First ideology, the response appeared necessary and even righteous, especially for those with no prior knowledge of this conflict. This isn't unusual. When you represent a younger, largely conservative audience, the instinct is often to defend your ally, especially one with deep historical and religious ties. But as the war continued, the picture changes. Evidence, historical context, and human sufferance and consequences cannot be ignored anymore. Charlie Kirk must have seen reports of massacres, mass civilians casualties, the devastation in Gaza, claims made by Israeli officials and spokespersons, often repeated in media, were increasingly hard to accept at face value and also to defend. Watching debates and interviews, you would have seen pro-Israeli defenders struggle to maintain credibility, recycling the same old talking points, dodging hard questions, sometimes even lying outright. Even IDF officials and Israeli representatives, under questioning, exposed contradictions after contradiction and propaganda that could no longer be rationalized. And then there's the power structure. Charlie Kirk, a political operator as much as a commentator, couldn't miss the overwhelming influence of Israeli aligned lobbying groups on the United States Congress and how easy they could shape laws and policies that affect Americans, not for the benefit of the people of America, but for the benefit of another nation, Israel. And that is, by definition, not America first. At the same time, his social and professional landscape was also shifting. People he respected, like Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Dave Smith, Joe Rogan, had already begun questioning the mainstream narrative. Charlie Kirk himself, according to people close to him, was under immense pressure not to give platform to voices that deviated from Israeli talking points. He was reportedly supposed to begin working again with Candace Owens, and he even confirmed to her that his stance on Israel had changed. And this is also a question of credibility. Charlie Kirk built his organization, don't forget, on his platform and a personal brand, TPUSA, on credibility and consistency revolving around the America First principle. He became a trusted voice because people believed he had strong convictions. And suddenly, on this one issue, that trust was fractured. Not just among his peers like Owens or Carlson, but also among his followers, people who had supported him on nearly every other political or cultural issues were now starting questioning him. That tension between what he believed, what he knew, and what his community expected from him must have been intense. It's one thing to shift a personal opinion quietly, but it's another thing to do so under the spotlight of an entire movement that is built around you and your voice. For someone like Charlie Kirk, educated and politically engaged, the moral and evidential weight became undeniable, like it would be for anybody else. That Middle East conflict is not new, as we were saying. It stretches back to 1948, with decades of displacement, occupation, and repeated cycles of violence. Going through his story lane, you start seeing contradiction between stated goals and action on the ground. You notice the influence of powerful lobbying groups and political machinery that shields these policies. From a Christian perspective, yes, walking in the footsteps of Jesus is profoundly meaningful. Profoundly meaningful. But faith or admiration does not provide immunity for moral and political critiques. For Charlie Kirk, stepping back, looking at it from a side view, seeing the world field, likely revealed a landscape far darker than he initially believed. One can appreciate the blessing of a culture without endorsing every act of its government. And perhaps in that realization lies the most human part of his journey, the reckoning with the truth, morality, credibility, and the consequences of silence or unquestioned loyalty. I truly do believe that Charlie Kirk spoke from conviction, that he genuinely seemed to believe what he was saying at that time. And when faced with the reality of history and facts on the ground, he chose his principles and his faith above anything else. Unlike others compromised cowards like Piers Morgan or countless other influencers who are carrying Israel genocide without question. For me, who is not a fan of Charlie Kirk, that willingness to confront uncomfortable truth and put in jeopardy a platform he has built from the ground up deserve our respect. That's what side view is all about. See the good in what seems to be bad, and the bad in what seems to be good. Until next time, share, like, subscribe, comment. Take care of yourself. Thank you.